Hello everyone, welcome back to Cities Skylines, How to Build Your City in 2021. I'm Socksway Up. I want to thank everybody who's checked out our first 5 videos and made comments on it. I did pre-record all 5 of those episodes, so I wasn't able to, respond to some of the comments as we were going. Oh, I did on YouTube, but not in the videos. So one of the first things that we've done is we've fixed some of the exits that we talked about having 2-lane roads. When I went and redid some of these off ramps, I ended up forgetting about the 2 lanes, so we got that fixed. We've also added a 3rd freeway exit here. This road I decided to extend. I did a little bit of growing offline. As I mentioned in the last episode, I wanted to make that push towards 7,000. So we have, let's go to this view. I think this will work better for this vanilla style stuff with no mods and no custom assets. Here in the middle, we're focusing on a commercial area. You can see the pattern starting to unfold. Finally, you can see the pattern unfolding. We got a lot of commercial here by the freeway, and then as the freeway turns and bends, we have more commercial, and then behind the commercial is residential. Over here we have our industrial area that is starting to grow out that way. And so today we're going to look at the tiles that we want to unlock. We have, I believe, 3. We'll take a peek at that. And then we're going to take a look at the milestone that we just unlocked, which is Big Town. And let's get that started right now. All right, as we start to take a dive into this episode, let's take a look at let's go back at our milestones here. Little Hamlet was the first thing that unlocked, then Worthy Village. That gave us 1 additional tile. We did use that already. We have 2 tiles unlocked. Tiny Town didn't give us 1, Boomtown did, so that's 1 free one. Big Town gave us another 1, so we have 2. I was wrong, it's not 3, it's 2. So what I'm thinking here, eventually we do want to get some high density. I'm still struggling a little bit on where to put that. One of the things before we dive too far into that, I wanted to kind of show what I'm doing with this industry area. I want to convert this into a green city. We are using the Green Cities DLC. So what I'm doing right now is I'm emptying both of these landfills. That's going to be the first step to doing that. And we have a lot of these recycling centers that are going to replace that. And then clean electricity is going to be another thing. And then custom zoning of industry will give us a few options. And we got to also find an area to do an industry specialty from the Industries DLC, which we're going to get to. We did a park already, and then eventually we got to do a university as well. But today we're going to focus on, let's do a little more recapping. I did a little bit of detailing just to kind of give an idea of some of the things you can do. And I think it turned out pretty neat around this freeway. If you take a zoom in look here, you can see cars flying by. It looks a little more finished in my opinion. And then also there was an area, let's see if I can find it. Yes, right here. This area of this neighborhood had a huge square in the middle, so I decided to put, a little bit of decorations in there, like so. And one of the things that one of the comments was made, we got the freeways figured out, but also I think when we finish this series, we're gonna do an episode where I unlock some mods and some custom assets and make some changes specifically to the highway and showing how much easier it is to use something like Move It, the node controller, and some other things to make it easier. Yes, there are ways to make this off-ramp look very clean and very professional. I don't want to take anything away from the console players and people that do play Vanilla Cities Skylines. A lot of them are way more talented than me and can make interchanges look better than I can with mods, without mods. So I don't want to take anything away from them at all, but definitely want to show the tips and tricks that I use, and we'll do that at the very end. I'm not sure how many episodes that'll be, but that's something to look forward to in the future. So now let's go over how I think about unlocking the next tile. So I'm looking around here and looking at buildable areas. I know high density is what we're looking at next. So I'm thinking that I want our downtown or high dense area to kind of split between this river. I think it would be really neat. I think a lot of cities do that. A lot of cities have downtowns right by the water. I think that would be awesome. Other ones we could look at, so we'd want this tile, these 2 tiles, but we also want this one back here. We also want this one. We want more. So let's take a look here. It's gonna be, 15,000 to get 1 more, and then we got to get all the way up to 28,000 to get the additional one. So So we have to be kind of picky. Maybe this one over here was a mistake. I don't know, possibly. So let's go ahead. We know we want this one. Tough. So that'll give us a decent start on where we could build the downtown. And then I think it's gonna be, is it 15,000 till we get, okay, so if we did focus on these two areas, we could do that next. So I'm gonna do it. I'm going to purchase this one, and that'll give us the ability to come on over here and zone all of this area. And we potentially have our industry area. Let's take a look at resources. We do. Okay, we could do our forest industry there. It looks like we missed an opportunity to do our ore industry where we put residential, but we can do forest over here, potentially in the back of downtown. We'll see how it turns out, but let's get going with part of this clean movement. So I'm going to have to do this in steps. Let's take a look at our water situation here. It does run that way. Right now, we could do this eco one, but it still has pollution. This one will help improve for now in baby steps until we can get to the eco water treatment plant. So let's put 3 of these down. And we're gonna connect those to the existing ones. Actually, we can just connect it to any water source. And then we are going to just give it its own little power here. We're gonna throw, we might regret this long term, but that'll work for now. And that should get all 3 of those online. Let's take a peek at that. Electricity, it's starting up. So these should turn blue here in a second. And there that goes. All right. And then we can come over here and say, we don't want these ones anymore. Those are the wrong things. How come nobody told me not to do that? How come nobody said, stop, Socks Way Up, you're making a mistake? I kid, I know this is a YouTube video. So we're gonna get rid of that, and then we can also get rid of these power lines because that power does not need to go that direction. And let's take a look at our water. Right now we have no water available. We made that mistake, and it should recover. It does. All 3 recover, we're good. Sewage is a little bit low, even though we have all 3. So let's go ahead and add a couple more out here. And we'll see where that puts us off once those come on. Is it gonna have enough power? Let's make sure. Working normal, or operating normal. Not operating. Operating normal, operating normal. So I'm a little worried. Let's add another one just to be safe. So that's gonna start that. We'll come check at the end of the episode how this dirty water's looking to see, because that was the first thing. I wanted to get rid of that. That's gonna ruin some of our coastline. We're gonna clean that up. Now let's start working on expansion. All right, so first let's talk about education. So we can look at our education tab and we can see 29% is uneducated, 29% is educated, and 42% is well educated. As we move into high density and then we convert our industry into office buildings instead of dirty industry, we're gonna need to be highly educated as a society to be able to fill all the jobs that are needed in those buildings. So the first step to that, even though we are eventually going to use the industry or the campus DLC for making a university, we're gonna start off by placing down one of the game's original university buildings. And I built this little area here. Let's let the game run. Oh, let the game run, because that's where I want to put it for now. We'll convert this into something else later. What I do early on, because I don't necessarily have the land open up for a large area like I want to build my university on, I'm going to place this down. You can see we're already getting students to go into it. I do notice that these are typically busy areas, so let's also add a bus route for it. So we're gonna say there's gonna be a bus stop, right? Let's just put it, let's see, on this side of the road. We're gonna put it right there. And we'll let it loop around. We'll put another bus stop, want it right in the middle. Let's go there. And we'll put one over here. But we should have enough buses now, even though that's our only mass transit, so people can hop from bus to then get to the university. So that should help with some of that traffic. And let's make sure we got water. Ooh, barely, we got lucky. Let's just cover the rest of that up. So we'll do some decorating over here with some more buildings to help out, but let's start thinking about that expansion and things we can do over here. I think we want to come a little bit off the freeway or off the river and do a overpass. So let's go ahead and get that started. We'll go about right there to there. And this is where we're going to start getting people off the freeway here for the downtown area. And then the downtown area on the other side, let's do a little more aggressive and go somewhat, let's give it room for exits. We'll go right here. Those are where our 2 exits are gonna be, and I'm not gonna bore you with me making the on-ramps. I will do that off camera and get back to you, and we'll do some road designs and some more bridges going over and start getting this thing zoned. Okay, I started making this road layout a little bit. We'll get you caught up on that. We had a little bit of a trash issue as well, so I laid down a few more recycling plants as these landfills are emptying so we can get rid of them. So we had to keep an eye on that, but start getting this road layout going. We're gonna have that main road kind of sneak around our little hill there. And this one I want to extend across. And what I had to do is remember how to make bridges. So if we go down the we go down here and we go across, it's just gonna work now that I'm being a doofus. So it's just gonna automatically recognize it as a bridge. I did start a road like this and it didn't do it earlier. To be honest with you, I'm a little embarrassed because I thought I discovered how to do it, but apparently you just, oh, there we go. See how that one just did not do it as a bridge? Okay, so we get rid of this, we get our refund. Come over here. Let's go straight for a second and go elevated. Go to there. Now we'll grab our little tool. And as we bend it, it does not want to be a bridge. If we go straight with it, it turns into a bridge. I am a little confused on why the game is acting that way, but we're gonna deal with it and we're gonna move forward and we're going to get rid of this little section here. Do our curve tool. And that should allow us to make that look a little bit better of an angle than it was a minute ago. So that's a bridge. If you've ever seen one before, there is a bridge there. And we're gonna have to adjust this one as well. We'll probably have to raise these up so we can sneak a road under it, but we will get to that in a little bit. We're gonna continue with some of this road design here. And we're gonna be pretty close to getting some of this zonable, I guess you would say. So let's get that straight. Come across with it like that. I don't know, vanilla acts a little strange. That time it did not want to fight with me. It was just letting me do what I wanted to do. We're gonna keep that road going straight and loving the terrain. We'll back that off a little bit and we're gonna come in here. Do we have the grids off? No, we don't. Oh, that's a different road type. That's why. Grab that there, and then we'll come at an angle. Actually, let's back it off a little bit. We'll go straight up like so, and then over. So that gets our road network connected across both sides. Now let's start playing around with this downtown area. Okay, I've done a little bit of terraforming. What I did is I came in here with the level tool, and I just kind of leveled out a good amount of this area to give us a nice flat surface. And then we're gonna take a one-way road, and we'll take a fancier one-way road. We'll go with the one with grass. And we're gonna come over here. This is about where we wanna start. Let's actually back it up. Let's see, let's get a good view so we can see if we're going straight. Actually, if we come off this way, that should give us a nice straight line. We have some terrain right there, so maybe we want to start about right there. Yep, let's start there. And back this off. We'll add some more buildings closer to the coast, but I want to get this going first. So now we have this somewhat grid we're going to make in here. We're going to have this road just kind of loop around like that. And then now we want one to go the other direction. So we'll go like that. So we have a nice, everything's zonable. Come out a little bit farther. Go, Let's not do it exactly like that. That might be too close to that intersection too. Bring that up just a hair for now. Come over here like that. And then we want to also have some that cut through going north and south here. That, and then we'll have it come back up. Back up. Like so. Now this gives us some nice clean areas that are going to be zonable. And we need to get our water over here, and we're going to have to get electricity over here as well. I didn't hear any dings. That's because that didn't connect. Go, and one more for good measure. And this road is a dead end. That's fine. We'll work on, actually, let's do it now. This gonna connect this way. Let's have it kind of jet out like that. This one, we'll do the same thing. Like so. We'll have to make sure those go the right direction. And then we'll have one more come back this way. We may regret this, but we're gonna learn together. That might be too many intersections. We'll check it out in a little bit, and then we can extend it on the other side as well. This road does not connect for what reason? That makes sense. So this road here needs to continue going to that direction. This one can come this way. So we're gonna have to, 4 would have been more ideal. Let's see if we can fit 4 in here. We technically can. We can just limit where we zone. So now let's upgrade this. We'll have this one go that way and all that go up. This one comes back. And now we have a more ideal situation there. Now we have all of that zonable. We're gonna grab our high density housing. We're gonna learn a couple things here. We're gonna zone this area. And we're gonna do, let's say, we're gonna do housing here. We'll do housing here and we'll find a different area for some of the businesses. We might mix a few, but since we zoned that, we wanna click on the districts again. And we want to go into the residential tab. I want this to be specialized with the self-sufficient buildings. So we click on self-sufficient buildings, we click on the district. That gives the little icon in there, so we can do that now. And then we're going to zone these squares away. Actually, let's stop that. We're going to zone 4x4s to start with. Like so. This one looked like we made it a little too big, but we can solve that with some paths later on. So I'm gonna get the rest of this zoned up like I'm doing now, get some electricity over here, let this stuff build out a little bit, and get back to you. All right, so our first houses came in nice. So because we did this checkerboard and we missed a few spots, so let's do more here. We did these 4x4 sections, and that told the game to put these 4x4 buildings here. Sometimes it will pick the smaller ones, but it did pick the 4x4s. Let's pick an area here. Let's do just like a 2x2, or let's do a 3x3 and see what happens there. I think there's a 3x3 building. We'll see what happens. But the reason why I do that is, well, now I can get all of these in here exactly like I want. So I could add another 4x4 here, another 4x4 here, and so on, and finish zoning these areas to get a nice look of buildings that come in very consistently, since we are playing vanilla and we can't use a mod like the ploppable Rico mod to put down exactly what building we want to create a fancy custom skyline. We're gonna do it this way, and it turns out pretty good. Those are close to being in. So see, now we have a 3x3, where if we would have just zoned this whole thing, we would have zoned that whole square, it would have made its own choices on the sizes, and we didn't really want it to do that. So let's get rid of that one. Now let's take a little peek at our skyline that's starting to happen here. These levels are not as big, or these buildings aren't as big as they could be, so we're gonna have to get them to level up over time to kind of finalize our skyline. You can see this one's saying increase the land value. The land value is gonna suck over here. We don't have any parks, we don't have anything. We're gonna work on that, but these ones where we had this little area, we, in theory, should be able to go, you know what, let's give them a nice little bike path through here. They could cut through there, you know, use the bike, get around a little bit. This one had it as well. Let's do a regular one so we can mix it up a little bit. And you could even make these blocks a little bit bigger so you can fit a little more in these areas if you wanted to. So I had originally wanted them to be all like this one where they were just jam-packed, but we did have that kind of mistake of my mathematics there, and I think it worked out to our advantage. This is going to be a very high dense area. This may be a mistake. I'm going to warn you right now. We may look back at this and say, we just ruined the city with the traffic. But we're going to find out together. I thought this idea was great, but we're going to play around with it. We might have to add some more roads, some more options. We're going to have an influx of population. You can see we started with 7,000 this episode. We're already up to 8,100. And because this is a district, we can come on here and see the population is 630 right now. High density can allow you to grow your city pretty quick compared to low density, and that is kind of what we're doing right now. I'm going to do a little bit more road design. We're going to build a commercial area and a office area and get some more of these skyscrapers up and running. All right, we're going to show a little tips and tricks. Let's take a look at our zoning here. We don't really want some of this zoning. It's going to kind of mess up what we're going for. So what we could do is we could come in here with a couple options. We could go into our park and we could say, you know what? Give us a fence and get rid of some of that zoning. See how that got rid of it? What I like to do instead is come to my paths, and you know what? This might look kind of fancy down here. Let's see if we could pull this off. Space already occupied. What are you talking about, game? Silly Cities Skylines. So let's go ahead, let's do this a different way. We're gonna take a look at that. We see our zoning is here now. That road is not connected, so we're gonna do the same thing with some of this high dense commercial here. We're gonna come about, well, let's see. Our road would be something like that. So we want free zone here. We're gonna grab these 4. We're gonna pause the game, and that gives us those. So now let's go ahead and get rid of that road. And we're gonna go right there for 1. Oh, this is a tricky area because of some of the way we did the road layout, and also you might notice I changed the highway. Change the highway to go over, the off-ramp to be under, kind of like we did over in the other area of the city. And I did that so I could sneak these roads through. So this is going to connect eventually. We're gonna fix that. But we gotta get some electricity over here, and this might be a challenge. We're gonna sneak over like so. We'll get it right there. And we're gonna do another trick that I like to do to get the zoning working. We're going to grab our plaza park, and we're gonna put our plaza right there. As you can see, that almost worked. That didn't completely work. Electricity, not our fan right now. Not a fan of us right now. So let's go ahead and move it over 1. That got it to jump. That should get our 4x4 building to start building. And we zoned incorrectly. So that's a good example of the way the game will handle that. So let's take a peek now at our zoning. Should be a 4x4. Let's hit play, see if it'll come back. Electricity should jump. What is going on there? Or sneak this back. Let's see. Take off guidelines. Sneak it around like that and go boom. That should turn the electricity on. It did. Okay, so now we got a 4x4 going, and we can play around with different sizes. But now that that building's there, we could, just to save ourselves, let's go ahead and grab a path. So I think the game's gonna not like what we're about to do. We're gonna grab a path right here, and we're gonna connect it up about right. That was too far. See, the game didn't like that. Oh, vanilla Cities Skylines. Got that back. All right, let's grab this. Go a little bit farther. And then we're gonna come over here pretty aggressively, right to there. And we're gonna see if we can get this road back in. We'll hit play. We'll let that go ahead and rebuild itself. We got our curved road on. Got it. We got it. And we can go ahead and cover this little ugly mess up with, let's grab a little palm tree here. Palm tree there. Let's go look at our little shrubs. Those are too big. Maybe we get a little bush in here. Do some bushes around. Maybe like right next to that palm tree. Now it's not too hideous. Not too hideous, but we still got this zoned. So it's the game's getting a little annoyed with us at this point. But that should come in nice in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit. Actually, let's do this live. Let's go ahead. This episode is running a little bit long, but let's go ahead and get this finished. We're gonna grab right here, and we're gonna grab that as well. Again, that didn't turn out too great, but that's okay. We can detail that up. But see how that changed all of our options for zoning here? And we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. And now we should be able to just zone on this side, and some of the terraforming messed up here, but I think that'll be okay. So now we got a 4x4 building coming in. Go ahead and pump up to ×3 to get that to speed up. Kind of smaller, but it needs to upgrade. We need to get water over here. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix in a little bit of commercial, a little bit of offices, and we'll get back to you in a little bit. Okay, I let the game play for a little bit while I was using the restroom or not by the computer or something like that. And so you can see some of the university is already doing its trick. We take a look at education. We have 12% highly educated, 31% uneducated. These industry buildings want a lot of uneducated, and they don't have enough. So now we can start the transition of getting rid of these, and we're gonna de-zone some of these buildings. Let's start over here. Even though those are the ones that have jobs, we're gonna de-zone a good amount of these. If you take a peek at our demands right now, let's keep those for electricity. Yeah, we want to keep those for electricity. You can see we have a ton of residential, no industry demand. We're gonna try to fix that. Let's get rid of all of these as well. Let that ground eventually recover. And we can probably get rid of, that's not what I want to do. Get rid of that as well. So we should be able to get some demand generated. So over here, didn't do much, but we do have these areas where we can zone. We're gonna go, let's see, let's add a little more. Let's add another 4 by here. We'll add a 3 and a business 3. And we'll go back here. Where else do we have a good sized building we can do? We'll go that. We'll do the same. We're going to have mixed zoning in here. And then we're going to do our little path trick here as well to allow us to zone back here. We'll go 4. I want to actually change that to this one. And then we'll see what kind of building pops up right here. I'm not sure what that's going to do. We'll get a little bit more zoning. Mixed zoning going. And let's, from here, let that play out. Run ×3 and show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so after some playing around, I think we got a decent skyline started here. It's pretty decent. We had a little bit of a death wave because I forgot about some things. Added a key across here. Could do a little bit better with some terraforming. I probably will terraform this a little bit better later. But what I did here to get these skyscrapers, you can see some of our buildings aren't happy. They'll get replaced now that we fixed the death issue. But I came in here to this zoning and I decided to make this an IT cluster. So that is in the office specialties, IT cluster, and that gives us these nice skyscrapers right from the beginning. They do hold just a small amount of workers, but I think it makes for a good skyline. And also we added in our services, we added in a hospital, a fire department, police department, added a plaza, and also added some bus routes to help add some services to the area. And now they are talking about, oh, this one still wants more services, but a lot of them are saying education. This one's probably education as well. So they want to be educated to get leveled up even more. And with that being said, that's about all we can do without letting the game run through some cycles. But I think that turned out good. It's a good start for a skyline. And we'll kind of mimic it over here as well, and then start blending in our residential. And yeah, that was a big undertaking this episode. I thank you for joining. It ran a little bit long, and I'll see you on the next one.